welcome back to Rebecca's Colouring Arts and Crafts. So I just thought I would do a book unboxing today for Goldsboro books. I have unwrapped this previously. It did come bubble wrapped and taped around the box, but I did actually unwrap that prior to doing this, so it didn't end up quite so awkward and unboxing kind of thing. So I've kind of got a the unboxing today is for the June Premier Book Club and the June Sci-Fi Fantasy Fellowship book, and both have come in the one box. So I'm just going to try and, I probably should have really unboxed the lid too. Yeah, awkward, stupid hand and wrist. Yeah, but yeah, so I have previously pulled this out from bubble wrap, so it did come bubble wrapped, but I've unwrapped it previously. And so the first thing you'll actually see here is Goldsboro Books canvas tote bag. So I'm so happy to have this. They have actually turned into my favourite bookstore. Recently I had a little bit of money that I could spend on any book anywhere, and I ended up spending it all at Goldsboro Books because I'm loving their bookshop so much, and the books they do and the special editions and blah blah blah. So yeah, we got this special Calico canvas tote bag, which is quite sturdy and nice, and I've been saying lately, if I ever get the chance to go to London like I want to, Goldsboro Books is going to be top of the list for there. And my friend and that's dreading it because he's like, you're going to walk out with way too many books. And my mum's laughing because he reckons I'll have to post them back. So I'm like, well, I'll pack bubble wrap in my suitcase then. And she's thinking of the customs people opening up my suitcase and finding all these bubble wrap bursts out. So yes, but so happy to have this, and yeah, so awesome. I really was not expecting this, and so yeah, it's a really nice surprise, and yeah, it's really sturdy, and so yeah, awesome. And then the next thing I've got, I'm going to do get these both out currently, and so we did have a couple of little surprises in this month's box. So I'm just going to move these here. So we got our June Premier Club book and the Sci-Fi Fantasy Fellowship book, and obviously not all of them come sprayed edges and stuff. We also got a Goldsboro Books London Premier bookmark for a Premier book, and our other book actually also came with an author letter, which I will read out in a minute, for Declaration of Rights. So that's what this is, and Declaration of Rights also came inside with another pretty bookmark. So that'll probably go in my book collection bookmarks. I'll see. Work it out anyway. I've got a bit of sorting to do, but I'm trying to do book photos and stuff as I can. But yeah, so I'll just quickly do this. So our first book that we got here is our June Premier Book Club book, and I don't know if it's meant to be like that or not. Just looks a bit sort of dinted in there, but it doesn't look damaged. But yeah, I guess it's something to do with the way it was made. But so we got The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant here, which I love, and this is our little book. It's a slipcase edition of The Court of Miracles. I also did get, hang on, oops, let me pull it down here. I did get the regular signed trade edition too, so you can sort of do a bit of a comparison to it. So we'll just slip this out of our cover if we can. And awkward, one-handed. I should have thought of that. With slip cases and one-handed does not work that well. But yeah. So there's nothing inside. It's just a normal slip case. So this is our book. says, "In ink is truth." And this is the front of our cover. And the regular trade edition looks like this. So it says, "Take what you will." Then our spine of our trade edition just looks like that. Pretty much the spine's the same. But however, on the back also, we have this Flesh in Chains design. And our trade edition actually comes with nothing on the back. So, yeah, very cool. And very happy to have it. So obviously this edition, because it's a slipcase edition, it doesn't come with a dust jacket. And then we're going to look inside here. This is our end papers for our trade edition. And, oh, they're different for our Premier Club edition. I actually think I like the Premier Club end papers better. And also inside, I got number 209 of 1,000 copies of The Court of Miracles, and it's signed by Kester Grant. And we got this beautiful map. I think the maps are basically the same for our end papers and things like that. And I'm being really bad with the fumble fingers here, so we'll just swap hands again. We've got our chapters, so yeah, so pretty much inside our original edition, it's pretty much the same, except it's not signed and numbered. It's just a signed edition. And we've got our normal chapters. The Lord of the Miracle Court, After You Came. So yeah, pretty much similar, but there are some differences. I really do love this slipcase edition. It's very pretty. Obviously, it doesn't have sprayed edges either. And yeah, her end paper's so pretty. Just checking, I thought I had the spine crack before, but it looks fine. But it seems to sit up at that part, whereas, I don't know. Let me just see. I don't know. Pretty much the same. All good. And so next we've got the Declaration of the Rights of Magicians by H.G. Parry. And this is our Sci-Fi Fantasy Fellowship edition book. So we've just got our front cover, our spine. Apparently this is the first of 2 books. And I love the colour of it. And I think that's his first book. And inside, let's just see. So we got nothing here. We've just got our normal black cover with the spine. And I'm just going to shift that temporarily so that we can look at this. So I have read it before. It doesn't actually have the description. One thing that's different with the Premier edition, it doesn't actually have the description of the family house line. So I just remembered that, and I'll quickly read it out from the trade edition. So it says, Liberty. 1828, and the citizens of Paris still mourn in the wake of their failed revolution. Among them, in the dark alleys and crumbling cathedrals of the city, the most wretched have gathered into guilds of thieves, assassins, and worse. Together they are known as the Court of Miracles. Family. Eponine has lost more than most. When her father Theonatus sells his sister to the Guild of Flesh, She makes a promise to do anything she can to get her sister back, even if that means joining the Court of Miracles, the very people keeping her sister a slave. Treachery. Epona becomes perhaps the greatest thief the court has ever known, finding a place among them and gaining another sister, Cosette. But she has never forgotten the promise she made, and if she is to have any hope of saving one sister, she will have to betray the other. This beautiful reimagining of Les Miserables tells the stories of your favourite characters and what might have happened if the French Revolution had not come to pass. So that's our description of the Court of Miracles. It actually isn't available in the slipcase bit. You can't read what the description is, but it's a gorgeous special edition, and I don't regret having it. And so we'll go back to the Declaration of Rights here by H.G. Parry. And so this is number 448 of 1,000 numbered copies. It is signed as they're part of their Sci-Fi Fantasy Fellowship. And it's the first edition, obviously. So that's about it for the inside. And our description says, a sweeping tale of revolution and wonder in a world not quite like our own. It is the age of enlightenment, of new and magical political movements, from the hypnotist Robespierre calling for revolution in France to the weather-made Toussaint Louverture leading the slaves of Saint Domingue to freedom, to the bold Prime Minister William Pitt legislating the use of magic in Britain. But amid the upheaval there is an unknown force inciting violent conflict, and it will require the combined efforts of revolutionaries, magicians, and abolitionists, I butchered that, to unmask this hidden enemy before the whole world falls to darkness and chaos. And I'll also just read our little, we've actually got an author letter here with this one, which was a surprise. I wasn't expecting this. So our author letter says, Dear reader, I love this book. I really truly do. It's lived with me a long time and it's thoroughly entwined itself around my heart as difficult, prickly, all-encompassing books do. This is the first of 2 books which make up the Shadow Histories. They tell the story of the French Revolution and Neapolitan Wars, the Haitian Revolution, and the British abolition movement, in an alternate history where magic is jealously guarded by the ruling classes. I wrote the first fledgling version of this in 2014. I had no idea what I was doing except that I wanted to write about the history that fascinated me and turn it into magic and myth. It was the book I first queried. Sorry, low battery just came on. First queried. I've lost my place. I first queried, and the book with which I signed with my agent, Hannah Bowman. We polished it up and it went out to editors to try and find a home. It failed, but Sarah Guan, then at Orbit, was kind enough to send us notes for how it could be improved. Between these notes and my agent's refusal to give up on it, we took it back to the drawing board, rewrote it from the ground up, and let it spiral into 2 books. I learned a lot about writing and about writing these books. In that same time, I wrote The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep, and it sold. And I got to be a published author, and I made a lot of noises and jumped around a lot. I never thought these books would get to join it on a shelf, but we submitted a declaration of rights of the rights of magicians to Orbit, and they said yes, and here we are. This is a very different book to Unlikely Escape. It's darker, denser, it spans decades and countries. The closest I can get is that Unlikely Escape is Victorian lit, smoky streets, libraries, adventure, and declaration of Enlightenment era history, politics, revolution, shadows. Basically, I wanted to write a book that read like dense, sprawling, character-driven historical fiction, the kind where the history is the story and not the setting, the kind that delved into the minds of historical people and tried to understand. But I also wanted magic to enhance and underscore the real-life political struggles, to mythologize them, and also eventually to be something wild and strange that bleeds through the pages of history and changes them. My overly ambitious goal for this was Hilary Mantel's A Place of Greater Safety meets Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. But I never even told myself that, because it was so ambitious I feared I'd be struck down by the writing gods. I'm cringing now typing it, but there you go. It feels wrong to call this book a love letter to history, when so much of that history is brutal and terrible. But it's a love letter to the people who cared, who tried to change things, who made terrible choices in the face of terrible things, and tried to make the right ones. It's a book about magic and about politics, and about freedom. It's a book about Wilberforce and Pitt and Robespierre and Toussaint Louverture. It's a book about who wields power and why and how. It's a book about how ideas and friendships can change the world. I'm writing book 2 right now and trying to make that world change for the better. And it's wonderful and exciting and very, very difficult. I'm so happy and grateful that I get to write these books in all their sprawling glory. I hope they find people who love them. Best wishes, H.G. Parry. So yeah, that's our little author letter. Sorry if I butchered some of the names there. But yeah, so that's, these are the June Premier Club, or what was Book of the Month Club, and the June Sci-Fi Fantasy Fellowship book. The Premier Club is really good because it does give you 15% off any book you purchase and stuff like that, and it's the same for if you sign up for the Goldsboro Books Sci-Fi Fantasy Fellowship, but I'm not sure if you can skip books or not in the Sci-Fi Fantasy Fellowship, or not, but I know if you sign up for that, it gives you 15% off books for the month that you get it as well. I don't think you get it if you skip a month or whatever, you don't have the 15% off that month. And yeah, so very awesome, and I'm so excited to have these books and add them to my collection. And now I guess to go and do some book photos. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this bit of an unboxing. If you have, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. I always love hearing from you, and I will see you later. Bye.